You know what? This needs to be said, and I'm going to say it. People of African descent, and I'm going to talk about the ones in America. I'm going to focus on you. Democrats are using you to get elected. They do nothing for you. And if they do anything for you, it's performative. And if they do anything more than that, it's little to nothing and few and far between. They put you in fear of the whip. That's what's so diabolical and disgusting about what Democrats are doing. They put you in fear of the whip. And when you vote them in, they do not take the whip out of the white supremacist's hand because they need it to be elected. I need you all to pay attention to that, because we are about to go through a season in which we get a choice between Trump or Biden. That's not a choice. And you all know it. And you also all know, if it were a Democrat on trial right now, what is it, 91 plus charges that dude is dealing with? Now he's in contempt of court, or has been held so. They would have buried him under they would have buried him by now. And this would be over. Because they don't fight in the way that Democrats fight. They're not as lazy and performative. Right now, Democrats, and it's not even right now. I told you guys last year. I told you. Go back to my content in which I said there is a point at which Democrats signal to everyone that they are getting ready to throw an election, and you're looking at it. And people in the hundreds were saying, "What? I don't know what you're talking about." And I wasn't just talking about one of the things I was pointing out was Palestine, and what was going on in Palestine, and how Democrats were handling it, and how the Democrat in chief is handling it. I was also pointing out the way Democrats were dealing with Trump. Democrats should have ridden that dude into the dust and 6 feet under and danced upon it. But they've done nothing. They've said, well, we're just going to let the judicial process play out. Well, Republicans wouldn't have done that. They would have set him on fire and set his effigy on fire day after day after day if that was Biden. And they would have utilized that to rev up their base with passion, not fear. The fear that Democrats are utilizing, but passion for a better America, so that if they did vote, they would be transitioning America into an America, all that nonsense that they advocate. But we don't see that, because it's not a Republican. You all may vote how you vote. And hey, that is up to you, because that's not what this TikTok is about. What I want you to do is I want you to understand the method to the madness. Why America's not going to change. I told you, it is, we are, if we don't have fascism in 2024, it will come in 2028. If it's not in 2028, it's 2032, because America's always been fascist. That sounds crazy and circular, but America's always been fascist. What America has done is specifically chosen groups of people by caste, the blacks, Native Americans, the LGBTQIA, and they treat them in a fascist manner. Take away the rights, penalize them, persecute them, etc. But the rest get to live in a very democratic America of privilege and exception. And they're able to pursue the American dream unharassed and unjailed and unpinned. And they're not remanded as slaves to the prison industrial complex. That's what's been going on. But people are talking about fashion. So right now, the way college students who are basically doing sit-ins are being treated. You know how we did sit-ins during the civil rights era, and during the Vietnam era, when people were protesting that? Same difference. In the same way, during the civil rights era, the establishment was okay with turning water hoses onto the people just sitting in diners trying to say, hey, both people of color and European Americans, white people, should be sitting together in the same eating area instead of segregated. Same way they were fighting for that. They are now fighting for Palestinians not to be murdered just because they're Palestinian. And the fact that people don't see what's going on as the same thing and see themselves as not bigots, all while they see what's going on in Palestine as okay because of Hamas. If we as Americans don't stand up, I found myself at a loss for words because I just had to watch the bodies of babies in Rafah be pulled out of their bombed out home. And this was this morning. This wasn't old footage. I found myself at a loss for words. All I have to say is that if America has to burn and has to fall into restructuring, then that's what has to happen. Life is not going to get better for people of color. They're going to still be doubling down on white supremacy, whether there is a Democrat or a Republican in the White House. I kid you not. This false lie and concept, for those of us who have lived so many decades, we're old enough to remember Jesus Christ walking the earth. I can tell you now, this lie that if we don't have a Democrat in the White House, that racism is going to get worse. Racism has been getting worse, and they all have been lying, including the Democrats. Including the vice president herself saying, America's not racist. America's not racist. America is racist. And it's genocidal. And that's why we see what we see. But go off. Go off. Go off. Go ahead and yell from the rooftops, vote blue no matter who. The problem is that AIPAC and all those lobbyists know that. So they're going to stack the deck. What you should be doing is checking out who is receiving money from whom. And that's what you should be voting on.